Welcome back to the Daily Drum on WHUR and Sirius XM Channel 141. This is the Insight segment. I'm Harold Fisher. Now that spring is here and you've moved those winter clothes into the basement closet and brought up the warm weather clothes, you're asking yourself what to wear, And as we often do on this program, we sit down with fashion experts to talk about what's in, what's out, and how to look your best this season. My guests are fashion designer Paula Mason and Michael Johnson Jr., custom tailor and member of the Silver Fox Squad. Hey, everybody, how are you?
Hello, doing great. Thank you, Harold. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Harold. Good day, Paula.
Yes,
Good day,
indeed.
Michael.
These are the people that you want to listen to when it comes to just talking about the fashion trends and what's happening. This is and may I mention I love your green, Paula. I had on my little spring green as well. So which brings me to my first question, and I'll start with you, Paula. Um, what is in right now when it comes to those fashion trends for women?
For women, the fashion trends are all over the map, but I
Mm.
want to centralize some styles that I've recognized. And also, I'm not a fashion designer, but I'm a fashion coordinator, model,
Oh,
and up and coming stylist. So, but I am definitely in the fashion industry. What
up
I've
and coming,
noticed, up
up
and
and
coming,
coming. Let me tell
up
you,
and
you
coming.
you let let, let,
I I
let us
cross
get
over.
that right. Your style has been there since the beginning.
Created my own path, but thank you, Harold. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
So it's the boho chic look that's making a comeback for the ladies. And also what I like about when we want to be sporty, we're still cute. It's still casually chic when you want to be sporty. And also I personally like when the ladies do up the shorts. So we have different variations of the shorts. Some are short, some are really short, and
Mm.
some, they bring with the shredded look. And I actually like that the way we upcycle our different clothing. I'm a thrifter as well as a buyer,
Yes.
but I love thrifting. But I do think the boho style is up and coming, and the casual chic and the linens are something exquisite for the ladies.
Now, when you say boho, what does that mean specifically?
It's bohemian, the bohemian
Ah.
look. You
Mhm.
have the maxi cotton, the eyelet dresses, and things of that nature. You can dress those up or down. You can convert it from day to evening. We have a lot of trends with the happy hour circuit. So you can dress those up and down. So you have five different outfits in one. You can convert it from day to evening easily.
Interesting, interesting. What about colors for the ladies, Paula? Does is there a particular color happening?
Personally, for me, I like the entire color palette. I like
Okay.
vibrance. I do notice for our ladies, they are with the hair. Can I say the vibrance in the hair is something that I really love to see on our brown and black women. I love to see your color style come out in your hair. So starting with the hair, the clothing is always a vibrance of colors. They go across the map with it, and I love it. No
Is
particular color, but for
oh,
me, it's the fuchsia. I like the fuchsia.
okay. And for those who may be watching this on our website on YouTube, I mean that the green that you are wearing even right now is yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So they call
Give
this
it.
like the chartreuse green. So it
Yeah,
is
the
a
chartreuse green, it's almost
yes,
like a sea glass green.
yes, yes, yes,
It's colorful, but it's really, really soothing.
yes.
It's
I
very,
agree.
very,
I
very
agree.
soothing.
Very
Mike,
flattering and very popular on the eye. Yep.
now, Michael, let's we have to have a little counseling session right now for those of us who have spent all of this money on our pants, and now I've seen you on social media with this new men's trend about the wide leg pants. What is going on? Help me with that.
Yeah, thank you again for having me on, Harold. And the
Sure.
wide leg pant is definitely back in style. You know, fashion is cyclical. So what we did in the 90s and the 80s, especially in the 80s, you're going to see a lot of that with women coming back, the oversized suits, the oversized pants, the oversized jeans. You're going to see even with the men, you're going to see some of this as well. It doesn't mean that the skinny pant is died just yet, but definitely the wide leg pant is in. And then you guys are just talking about green. For me, I've been on green pretty hard for the last probably 3 or 4 years. Definitely, you're going to see a lot of green in all the different shades this spring. It's going to be amazing. For men, and Harold, I don't know if we're leading up to this, and I don't want to get ahead of you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but for men, you're going to see a lot of different shades of colors. If you'll notice in the last probably 4 or 5 years, men have been really bold. So you'll see men now in pink, hot pink, yellow, fuchsia, lavender, all of the palette. Like you'll see a lot of this. And you're going to see it, especially now that the Derby season is now upon us and is really pretty relatively close. You're going to see a lot of men wearing these. Of course, white is, it's going to be what it is, but these lighter colors now, man, there are so many men now who have thrown away all the rules as it relates to wearing these different colors now because they realize you can rock any color. Any person honestly can rock any color. It just depends on how you pair the colors. And that's where most people struggle is to put the color patterns together, which Paula and myself can help, most men and women do very easily.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you make an excellent point. One of the things, Michael, that you were talking about as it relates to color, and I noticed this last night. I don't know whether or not you had a chance to look at the NFL draft. It was an explosion of color from these young men that are going into the NFL, from purples to pinks to I think I may have only seen one gray suit, but that was about the size of it. For those who saw it, and even for those who didn't, what were your thoughts about not just the color, but the style that we saw a lot of these young guys wearing?
Yeah, you know what's interesting? I am not a person who follows trends, and I'm not trendy. I love classic. So all of the young men you saw last night, they were all trendy. So they wear whatever's in style today or tomorrow or whatever the case is. But I love the colors. I just didn't particularly love the styles. I didn't particularly love how things were put together. Some of the young men, they're trying to express themselves and they want to be bold. So they put their own outfits together, which is cool. But I wish they had gone to a stylist like myself to kind of help complete the look. So there were some things that were hitting really well, and there were some things that were just way off. Like you would see a jacket that was perfect, but then you would see like a turtleneck. No one's wearing turtlenecks for the most part in the summertime. That's but you see a lot of these young guys doing it. And then you see them, I'm not a big fan of wearing sneakers with dress trousers, but just about all of them did that, right? So it's just, different things here and there. I wouldn't have given anyone a 10, if you will. Maybe the closest a 7, 7.5. But hell, when you got that kind of money, what difference does it make, right?
Well, yeah, then there's that.
Well, but Michael, that the tennis shoe and the suit combination is really, really popular. So it's
definitely a fad. But I'm old school. So I don't really wear sneakers with a suit or any of that kind of thing. Now, every now and again, if I'm doing something for the Silver Fox Squad and it calls for that, I'll do it. But I'm just really not a fan of doing that. However, I did like the fact that all of the young men, as you saw them, they were very bold in their expression of their colors. And they didn't care what you thought about if they were a darker hue wearing a very light color or even a lighter hue wearing a lighter color. So you'll get people who will say, like, for our skin tone, maybe, or even a little bit lighter, yellow on yellow doesn't work, right? Meaning if you're a lighter skin or fairer complected person, you shouldn't wear a yellow. And I would argue against that all day. You can absolutely rock any color, especially yellow, if it's paired together, if it's paired the right way. So I was pretty impressed with the young men, again, in terms of their color selection. Wasn't all that impressed with how they actually wore it.
You know, that's an interesting point because, Paula, I've heard a lot of women who were fairer skinned over the years where
Hmm.
they say they avoid yellow. But I would argue, Paula, not all yellow is created equally.
And that's true. And speaking of yellow, that's one of the trending colors for spring and summer.
That's why
So
I
that's
mentioned it. Mhm.
yeah, that is a popular color for 2025 spring and summer, but it does not always agree with everyone. But you can play that off, as Michael said. If you allow the stylist to pair that with what works, it will work for you. It will work
Yeah,
for you.
because now let me use my style expertise that comes out of a Cracker Jack box and ask you, Paula, if I have this right. So if you have a fairer skinned woman or
Hmm.
very, very fair skinned woman, but if she has a rich yellow, almost
Hmm.
just this side of gold, as opposed
Hmm.
to unsalted butter yellow. Do you
Hmm.
think that richer yellow would work? With a coordinated hat and something like that. How
And
am I
you
doing?
took the words out of my mouth. It to not allow that color to wash her completely out, you will
Mm,
have to pair it with a darker shade to bring her back into the trifold of the color. Accessories are key for us ladies. If you want to, you have to upcycle your accessories, make them bold, make them big. If there's a color that's going to wash you out, then your accessories should bring you back to life.
yeah,
Can I
sounds
jump on
wonderful.
that, Harold, real quick?
Yeah,
Come
well,
on in,
before you
Michael.
do, because I've got to take a break in a bit, but hold your point because Paula has a Mother's Day event that is coming up in May, and I want to make sure we get that information out there real quick before the break, Paula.
Yes, so thank you, Harold, so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Is Mother's Day and scholarship, post Mother's Day and scholarship function, my first annual event that's taking place at West Bowie Village Hall. So it's May 18th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. You're going to get a variety of fashion. MC Glam is also Earl Bannister from Baltimore will be on the roster. Ida's Idea, and also we have Gigi from National Harbor from Jean Lee. So we have a conglomerate, and we have future comedian Laughing Lenny that's going to give us some laughs. So I want everyone to be in the house and to contact me, PCAZZIE1 at gmail.com to inquire about additional information and how to get your ticket.
Give me that slowly again, please, because that's May 18th. That's Sunday.
Sunday,
That's the third Sunday in May.
Sunday, May 18th from
And
4
how
p.m.
can people
to
get
8 p.m.
information about it?
Please email me at PCAZZIE, the number one, at gmail.com.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. And it's going to be where you said the
West Bowie Village Hall. And I'll
West.
get that address when we come back.
Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Hold on because we've got more style tips, some do's, and some absolute don'ts coming up in just a bit. We are going to take a break. Don't forget, you can hear this and every edition of the Daily Drum Insight segment via podcast on WHUR.com. The original Quiet Storm with Raheem Devon is next on WHUR. I'm Harold Fisher. This conversation continues on Sirius XM channel 141 and 96.3 HD2 in just a few seconds. Welcome back to the Daily Drum on Sirius XM channel 141. I'm Harold Fisher. We continue our conversation about spring fashion, what's in, what's out, and how to absolutely look your best. My guests are fashion stylist Paula Mason and Michael Johnson Jr., custom tailor and member of the Silver Fox Squad. If you are not familiar with the Silver Fox Squad, Google them. ladies, you will not be disappointed. So I got you, Mike.
That's so kind of you, Harold. That's so kind. Thank you.
Hey, listen,
Very debonair.
yeah,
Very
I have,
debonair group of men. Yeah.
but Michael, you were talking before the break about color and the like. Go ahead, make your point.
So Paula, actually, I want to jump on this point that she was making about accessories for ladies. Well, this equally, and it may be more important for men to accessorize their things because that's the way you pull colors together. So if you're wearing a neckerchief with a yellow, because we're talking about yellow, let's say a black and white neckerchief with a yellow blazer and maybe like a yellow mixed shirt, it would go well because your eyes are picking up not necessarily yellow, but the black that's coming out, or even a red or something like that. You want a bold color to help enhance all of that. And again, accessories are important. You talk about sunglasses, you talk about hats, jewelry in terms of necklaces, bracelets, rings. All of these different things are important. I actually include shoes as an accessory. And the reason I do is because shoes can help enhance or break a uniform or break your ensemble. So you want to be very careful when you're pairing these accessories with your clothing, especially shoes. Shoes for women and men, it can either make or break you. So you want to be careful. So in an instance, if you're wearing, again, let's say a yellow suit, but you're wearing like a pair of red shoes, the first thing your eyes are probably, glued to are the shoes. Then you come back with a neckerchief in another color, let's say a black. Then you see, now your eyes begin to break the yellow up so you can begin to see these different pieces. Then you add a different color pocket square. So you're talking about, all these different accessories working together, but it takes a good, skilled, knowledgeable stylist to help bring all of these things together so you're not looking like a clown. Because I just told you a lot of stuff, but you go out and try it, it may not work because you don't have a person who's very skilled at putting all of these different things together.
Give me, if you're wearing, for example, a beige linen suit for men, for one of those warm spring days. If the suit is beige, what color shirt would you recommend? And let's say it's casual, you're not wearing a top.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What color shirt would you recommend, and what color shoes?
Great question. So for shirt, I'm going to go with a sky blue or a lavender. Never a white, and probably depending on how you wear this, you could get away with a tonal, meaning a shirt that's the exact same color, but I wouldn't do it. I would probably wear either, again, a lavender shirt because it's going to bring out that tan or that beige, color, or a sky blue shirt. So for most men, you should have these in your closet because it's always going to enhance whatever color you wear. And then if I'm wearing a beige suit, I tend to lean old school. So I may be wearing a pair of white Bucks or off-white Bucks. So if you know what Bucks are, the white shoes with the red bottoms on them. I don't mean Christian Louboutin red bottoms. I mean, but it has the red bottoms on them. And then Harold, I would also add a hat, maybe of this color to it as well. So then you pull the whole thing. And then if you really kind of want to take it over the top, get you a really nice pair of sunglasses, something that might be a brown or darker color or black, something like that, and put a gradient in them so that this part of your eyes is shaded, but you can see the bottom part of the lens as well. So you can piece it all together. So I just gave you a whole ensemble. And you can probably even imagine that. You know what I mean?
Now, let me ask you this, because for those guys who may not necessarily be savvy, because they only have black shoes and a pair of brown shoes, or maybe two tones, and they don't want to go out for that beige suit, would it be, would the brown be okay?
I would say I would always opt for the brown. And if possible, if you're going to opt for the brown, and most men don't realize this, so I'm going to teach something real quick. Suede shoes can be worn all year long. Summer, winter, spring, fall. I would opt for a chocolate, if you have it, a milk chocolate even, brown suede shoe, a loafer to be exact, if you have it in your closet. If you don't have it, I would say that's a piece you should invest in. And I don't know if we're going to talk about this a little bit, but I would love to talk to you about investing. Most men or most people, when they think investment, they think taking money and multiplying it. In this instance, I'm talking about taking your money and put it into your wardrobe so that it multiplies you, meaning it will enhance how you look so that you have better opportunities for jobs, better opportunities for dating, better opportunities for just a number of different business opportunities, because most people don't realize people see you first, right? They can't see what you think. They can't see what you know. They can't see what you might say, but most people engage you first, primarily by what they see. And they'll make a decision as to whether I want to date you, when I want to engage, with you in a business transaction or even a job interview, which is why I always tell people, don't take the chance and not dress up. You can't go wrong in dressing up. It's no way to go wrong. You might overdress, but you cannot ever go wrong in dressing up. Some people overdress for the occasion. So you got to just, kind of watch the room and monitor the room to see what's being worn. But you can't ever get away with being dressed up. Everybody loves to see someone dressed up, and you can do that in so many different ways.
And Michael, if you miss the mark and you overdress, I always say own it. Own it.
Absolutely.
Walk in the
Thank you for
room
saying
and
that.
own it.
What do you mean by explain that, Paula?
So if you miss the mark just by a bit, and I've done that, I may have overdressed or underdressed.
You?
But I
No.
walk in the room maybe once. But if I walk in the room and I've read the invitation or the specifics just totally wrong, I'm going to own it. I'm going to walk in with the confidence. I'm going to walk in with my head up. I'm going to socialize, and I'm going to own my look, and I'm going to own the moment.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you this, Paula, because Michael brought up another point that I didn't even really think about having this discussion, but since he brought it up, and I think it is really, really important for mature women and men too. But I'm asking you this for the women's opinion. If you're over 40 and you're going on a first date and a guy says, "I'm going to take you to dinner," just keep it really simple, but you don't know whether he's taking you to the rib joint or downtown, but you want to look your best but also look appropriate. What do you tell women when they're going out on that first date so that they're not overdressed but also underdressed? First of all, I guess they should ask, are we going to the rib shack or are we going downtown? That's the first
Yeah. Yeah. So I actually want to piggyback on something that Michael said for the men, the wide leg pant. The wide leg pant works. We call them palazzo pants, So it works. So you can have the wide leg jean, a button down, a nice jacket, and also your accessory, your handbag, your accessories can capture the moment. Your shoes can don't wear your highest stiletto because you don't know how much walking you're going to do. And you don't know if you have to stand and wait for a seat. So make yourself comfortable. I still like the wedges. Me personally, I like the wedges. I'm short, so I always give myself a little height. Specifically back to the wide leg. If you're short, if you wear a wide leg, it elongates you, ladies. So invest in a couple pair of the wide leg palazzo pants. They work. They work across the board. I do want to ask Michael about, for the men, when you have that ensemble, what should the belt do? I always have that question. Should it match the shoes or not? But ladies, keep it, casually chic. Keep it casually chic, where you can take off a layer and your wardrobe, your ensemble at the time can be a 2-in-1. If it's too much, take the jacket off. If you need the jacket, leave it on. So just be trendy and be prepared. Be prepared, but you should ask the question first. Where are we going? But
exactly.
And by the way, Paula, the belt should absolutely match the shoes. So if it's a brown belt, it should be brown shoes. If the belt is, and I'm going to take it a step further for most men, if the belt or the shoes rather are suede, your belt should also be suede.
Okay.
So depending on what the texture is of the belt, you want the same texture for the shoes as well.
Okay.
That I don't have any suede belts, but I will say that the colors match.
Michael said invest.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, right. Exactly. Thanks, Mike. Oh Lord.
Sorry about that.
Or, like Paula said, and and for those who may be familiar with her, um, she is a big thrifter, consignment person, and you would not know unless she told you.
That's right. You would not
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
You
The
would
other thing
not
I wanted
know.
to ask, and this is more for this applies to the men too, but specifically, I think Paula, for women, and I see even now, I'm looking at your glasses. Um, Talk about this new big frame trend that we're seeing with women. Sometimes, most of the time, I will say it looks great, but
Mhm.
not always.
Yeah. Yeah. It's become, and Michael touched on this earlier. Um, the eyewear is part of your wear. It's part of your wardrobe. It's part of your ensemble. Me, these are readers, but I look for the most eclectic readers I can find because I know I like to make a statement from my eyes. So, as
Mhm.
well as with my ensemble. So, if you don't have a chance to speak, speak with your eyes. So, find the colors. I have all shades, colors, styles. I can't wear them all because it doesn't match my head shape. But find what works for you. I just realized I can do squares, but they have to be in, some kind of pattern.
Well,
Plain is okay.
yeah. Well, let's talk for those who are listening but may not be able to see, and those who are watching. You have an oval shaped face.
Yes. Hmm.
You're always on point and perfect, but your glasses are
Like a leopard print. Yeah, they're like a
with
leopard print.
and I'm talking more about the shape. Are they square? Are they a rounded square? Are they a square round?
I would say they are square rounds. Yeah, they're kind of square round. They're kind of rounded in the top corners, and
Yeah.
they're rounded in the corner. So I would say a square round. Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but again,
And
you
slightly
always look.
oversized. Slightly oversized. Hmm.
Yes, and I think that's the thing. What about for men, whether they're doing readers or what have you? Because if they're wearing prescription glasses, Michael, as we know, prescription glasses are expensive just because they are prescription. But for those who may, like Paula, have readers or sunglasses, uh how do you balance style versus what will look good for your face? Because everything doesn't look good on everyone.
That's correct. I mean, honestly, to me, Harold, it's just one simple rule. Always go with the accessory in terms of the eyewear that looks best on you. So whether it's a reader or sunglasses, you always want to go with the best. And you might want to have a variety, right? Because you're not going to always nail the look with one pair of glasses, meaning the
Hmm.
color of the glasses, the style of the glasses, the tint even of the glasses as well. So, like Paula, I own probably about 20 pairs of glasses. All of them for me are readers because I need them because of my prescription. I need a prescription on my glasses. But what I try to do is to play with the prescription sometimes. So today I'm wearing a clear pair of frames, or what some people call them ice frames, and it has an ice lens to them. But on some days, if you catch me, I may have on a green pair of shades or sunglasses or readers, but I've tinted the glasses just halfway, a gradient. Some of them is all the way, some of them have a light tint. All of those things tend to work. Here's the key. You got to get the glasses that fit your face. You'll see people who have glasses that don't fit their face that throws everything off. So you really need to find it. So for me, for instance, I'm going to talk about the three of us. So you were talking about Paula. Her glasses fit her well. She does have an oblong face, meaning a round face. So her glasses, she can wear anything for her face. For somebody like myself, I have a block head, block jaw. You always want to make sure, and listen, I'm very well aware of this. I'm okay with it. You always want a pair of sunglasses that come or extend outside of your face. So they encapsulate and your face fits inside the frame and your face not outside the frame. That's how you can
Ah,
always tell there's an ill fit because the face is outside of the frame as opposed to inside the frame. So if you look at my glasses, look at my face, and you can see how my face fits perfectly inside
inside.
of
That's
my
true.
glasses. So every pair of glasses doesn't matter what I'm wearing, they're always going to fit the same way. By the way, this fit rule, FIT, It applies to your clothing. It applies to your hat. It applies to your every single thing. Your
Oh
shoes.
yeah.
Fit is everything. If you could just remember that fit is everything, your whole life will be simplified. People either do one or two things, Harold. They either wear clothes that are too small for the most part or they're too big. Most people never actually get it right because they don't go see a tailor or a seamstress to actually get the proper fit. But once you get the proper fit, I don't care if it's a pair of glasses, a ring, a hat, a suit, a shirt, it doesn't matter, a coat, all of these things make a difference. So when you get the proper fit, everything works well. But a pair of sunglasses or a pair of glasses, this is probably one of the most slept on secrets of the game is your eyewear. This can elevate everything else because it can change your whole shape of your face and a whole look of your face and everything else you're wearing. So I could go on and on about sunglasses and all that on another show.
Well, I do want to talk to you more about the fit because one of the things, when I see you on social media, your clothes are not just fit, but you are physically fit now. And obviously, for those of us of a certain age, you obviously have to work on that. But your suits are form fitting. But I often wonder, because they are so form fitting, can you breathe?
So two things can be true at the same time. and here they are. So for the Silver Fox Squad and being a male model, which we all are male models,
Yes.
most of our clothes are not for functionality, meaning it's not for the everyday person. So our clothes have to fit us a certain way so that they give off a certain impression. And because we're trying to sell things. Now, that doesn't work if you're not physically fit. So the first thing is you absolutely have to be physically fit. And for us as men, Harold, this is important. That's why with the Silver Fox Squad, you'll see us. And by the way, let me say shout out to my Silver Fox Squad brothers. We have a standard that we have to maintain in the group. And you have to be physically fit because we know when you put your clothes on, they're not going to lie. They're going to tell the truth about, where you are in terms of what your shape is. So exercising, eating well, taking great care of yourself is going to make a difference from the inside to the outside. So yeah, all that stuff matters.
So to that point, because most people are not models, they're not on display, but even if they are fit, how should a man tailor his suit so that it is functional?
Great question.
So that he can sit down, obviously if he's wearing a suit and he can open it, but because again, if you have a guy who is 6'2" and 200 pounds, that's a slender silhouette. But he still wants to breathe. You don't want him to look like he's in a straight jacket.
Yeah, everything isn't for everybody. Everybody shouldn't wear that. So when you talk about clothing, you should always look to have your clothing tailored. Tailored doesn't mean you have to have it 100% tailored, meaning from zero to finished, or meaning custom made. You can go see a seamstress or a tailor and have them actually tailor your clothes. So they'll take them in appropriately to your body type. So if you need an extra bit of room in the booty section or in the butt section or in the thigh section, in the chest area, in the arm area, they can make all of those different adjustments. So you really want to come see a person like myself because you'll probably get a 10 for 1 seeing me because I can style you, but I can also help tailor your clothing so that you get the optimal look out of it. So that your clothes don't look too small, they don't look too tight, but they fit you just right. Some people really like tight fit clothing because they can wear it and it's okay for them. For some people, it doesn't look good on them because it's too tight, like busted biscuits, I've heard the term put out there. And so that's the last thing you want. So you want to be able to go to a tailor or a seamstress to help you get the right fit for your body type. Because all of our bodies are different. All of our bodies are different. We all have different body types.
Well, and the other thing too, and I was going to bring this up about Paula, because one of the things that I've noticed about you, Paula, in all of the years that I've known you, it is very rare that anything you wear is simple. your stylings are complex, and I think that is the thing that makes you stand out. You know, if someone didn't know you and saw you walking down the street, I mean, you could be as casual as Paula can be, but your stylings are just beautifully complex, and they always fit perfectly. And so when you talk about, helping women style, that old saying, spandex ain't for everybody. But and this isn't about body shaming, but you want things to
Right.
be flattering.
You do. You do. You absolutely do. And I'm a fan of Spanx. And we call it foundation for the women. So I'm a fan of having your foundation appropriately applied under your wardrobe. But if that's not for you, I think a cheap method, we don't always do the customization and tailoring. Ruching is is great for women. So the
Explain what
areas
ruching is.
ruching is when you take the ensemble is draped sort of,
Hmm.
and it hides the areas of concern. So if you have in the waist
The
area,
areas of concern.
which is typically for the women, we have our what they call them faux pas, or our stomach area. So ruching helps camouflage. So ruching, and then if you have, the muffin top, a jacket that stops right above the hip, it kind of slims you down, gives you an alignment so it can, camouflage just a little bit. But I am a fan of Spanx, even for the smallest individual. When we're modeling, I like clean lines. I
Yeah.
love clean lines and alignment. So I'm a fan of Spanx. So we can go Spanx shopping, ladies. If you want to do that, send me an email. Also get on my thrift shopping list. Let's do DMV thrift shopping. Let's do it. Let's do it together.
Yeah, and I
Oh,
think that is really, and I think men have to, I think in some cases have to accept it. I remember when years ago when Spanx first came out, and you would be at an event, you would hug someone, and you're thinking, oh my God, what is that? That doesn't feel like skin. It feels like, you know feels like armor.
Yeah.
And my first thought is, can you breathe? Are you okay? But even when you're wearing that foundational stuff, and you're right about the clean lines. And you know what, Michael, those
Mhm.
clean lines um, are important, I think, for men too, when it comes
Yeah.
to any season, but particularly the warmer weather wear.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, all of this stuff. I mean, Paul said some pretty good points there. Clean lines are clean lines, whether it be a man or a woman. And so you want to make sure in that, and to speaking of that, Paul, I was going to mention this to you, and I want you to speak to it if you don't mind. Clean lines, part of the clean lines, Harold, is underwear, undergarments. So Paul has kind of started talking about, so most men don't realize there are undergarments that help your clothing fit the way that it should fit, right?
Really?
Absolutely. You don't want your you don't how do I put this appropriately? You don't want people to know how much change is in your pocket. And
Okay.
you don't want people to see that front print.
Right.
Mhm.
You have all these different things, and then t-shirts are great items to use for some shirts. For some things you might want to wear a v-neck t-shirt so that this part of your chest is showing, but the rest of your chest is covered, your arm, all these different kinds of things. There's specific underwear as for ladies as well. And I try to teach my lady clients this. Listen, when you're wearing a pair of really fitted clothing, whether it be a skirt, whether it be a pair of trousers, try not to have an underwear print if at all
Mhm.
possible. And there's so many different ways to accomplish
Yeah.
that. But most women don't realize, you don't necessarily have to wear a thong there. You have other underwear that won't show the lines and the print. Same thing for men as well. So we just
Yeah.
want to be careful as we're dressing, and we're dressing well, that we're put together from head to toe, and that includes our underwear as well. Because
And I
we
want to
can have these
piggyback
great
off of
lines.
that too.
Yeah, go ahead, Paula.
Because
Yeah.
Sure.
Spanx Spanx and the foundation for the women, it comes in different forms. You can get them where they are gown length. What I cannot stand, and I have to say this, is if you wear a fitted pair of trousers and your Spanx stop at the knee. That drives
Paul,
me
excuse me 1 second. Pause.
berserk.
I didn't want to say that, but that's exactly what I was really
Right,
speaking to.
right, yeah.
It looks like you're wearing shorts underneath your clothes.
Yes. We
Yeah,
can buy
Mhm.
them longer, ladies. They can
yeah,
meet the length of your pants or your gown or your skirt, or you can
yeah.
buy the shapewear that goes up and stops. They have the one with the back out and still covers the front. They have them in all shapes and sizes. Just invest,
Oh,
as
wow,
Michael
yeah.
says. Invest.
I
Yeah,
didn't want to go there, but I'm glad you want to talk about
okay,
it because I hate
that's why
seeing women.
Paula is
I,
here. And
I
and
hate seeing women like that. Yeah, it doesn't look good.
all right.
Mm-mm.
One more thing, briefly, Paula, and then I'm going to ask you about hats in these last 3 minutes. So let's go quickly. Um, Paula, help women with when they're wearing gowns with the back out and the bra strap is showing. Um, that seems to be a an age old struggle. Help the what do you tell them about that?
Yeah,
How
let's
do you
not
fix
do that. Let's not do that. Let's be appropriate. Let's be appropriate. Let's do modest, clean. If you, okay, so I'm a itty bitty, but if you are top heavy, they do have, um, the strapless bras. They do have bras with absolutely no strap with adhesive that will hold. If you need help in how to apply those or get those on, I will tell you how to go get the girls and put them in the box. So,
Okay.
so there are things made for us. You can find it anywhere. I have all shape, size, and if I'm going back out, no straps anywhere. If I
Yeah.
can't bring it down low, then it won't be a strap anywhere. But if you
Okay.
have to have a strap, do clear. There are
Okay.
clear straps. Do clear.
And real quick, Michael, what just give me a kind of a rule of thumb for shopping for your hat. How should the hat
This
fit?
hat is fierce.
Yeah,
Thank you. So it just
real
needs to
quick.
fit. It needs to fit the shape of your head. So you should get your head measured to figure out what exact size your head is because you don't want the hat to be too big or flopping or whatever the case is. You want it to fit your head appropriately. It could be a wide brim hat like I have here. It could be a snap brim, meaning the brim curls up. It could be a flat brim. It could be any of those things. It just needs to fit. Remember, fit is king.
Mhm.
FIT. All of your items, you want them to fit. That's the only rule. Color doesn't matter. Material doesn't matter. The shape or style doesn't matter. Have fun with it. Just make
Thank
sure it fits you.
Yeah.
thank you so much to both of you. We could talk about this for another hour, but we are out of time. Michael Johnson Jr., Paula Mason, I appreciate it.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
That
Thank you.
is the Daily Drum for this Friday, April 25th. For News Director Renee Nash, I'm Harold Fisher. Good night and have a wonderful and fashionable